What if I told you a man vanished into the sea, only to reappear 5 years later with a story so wild? It sounds like fiction. In 2002, John Darwin paddled his canoe into the North Sea and disappeared, leaving behind a wrecked boat, a grieving family, and a mystery that gripped the world. But here's the twist: it was all a lie. John wasn't dead, he was hiding in plain sight, and his wife was in on it. Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the truth behind the wildest true crime stories. Today we're diving into the case of John Darwin, the Canoe man, a scam so bold it fooled everyone. But how did they pull it off? And why did it all come crashing down? Hit subscribe, and let's unravel this unbelievable tale. On March 21, 2002, John Darwin, a prison officer from Seaton Carew, England, paddled into the North Sea and vanished. A massive search found only his broken canoe and a paddle. Declared dead, his wife Anne collected £250,000 in insurance money. But 5 years later, John strolled into a police station, claiming amnesia. The truth? It was a scam. John and Anne had faked his death to escape crippling debt, deceiving their own sons in the process. This is a story of greed, betrayal, and a lie that unraveled in the most shocking way. Stick with me as we reveal how one photo brought their world crashing down. Let's meet the Darwins. John was 51, a former teacher turned prison officer living in Seaton Carew, a quiet seaside town. Born in 1950, he was charming, ambitious, a man chasing the good life. His wife, Anne, was his high school sweetheart, a soft-spoken receptionist who'd been with him since 1973. They raised 2 sons, Mark and Anthony, who idolized their dad. From the outside, they were the perfect family, big house by the sea, happy memories. But beneath the surface, trouble brewed. John and Anne had bet big on real estate, buying 12 rental properties. It backfired, leaving them £700,000 in debt. These were ordinary people pushed to the brink, and what they did next would shock everyone. How does a family man go from prison officer to faking his own death? The answer's coming up. March 21, 2002. The North Sea was choppy, the wind sharp, a bad day for canoeing. But John Darwin didn't care. He dragged his red canoe to the water, and a neighbor watched, uneasy. That afternoon, John called Anne at work 4 times, finalizing their plan. By 3 p.m., he was paddling out, vanishing beyond the horizon. But he didn't drown, he doubled back to North Gear Beach. At 7 p.m., Anne was waiting, dressed in black. John climbed in with a sack of essentials, and she drove him to Durham Station. From there, he hid in Cumbria, living in a tent while the world searched for his body. That night, Anne called 911, voice shaking. "My husband hasn't come home." "I'm terrified." A £100,000 search kicked off, boats, helicopters, police scouring 200 square miles. They found only a paddle and his canoe, smashed on the rocks. In 2003, a coroner declared him dead, and Anne cashed in £250,000. But John wasn't gone, he was back in Seaton Carew, living next door. He'd grown a beard, faked a limp, and stolen a dead baby's identity, John Jones. He hid in a bedzit connected to their home by a secret passage. When his sons visited mourning their dead dad, John was feet away, listening. For 5 years, Anne played the grieving widow, lying to everyone. It's chilling, a father and mother deceiving their own kids for money. But how long could they keep this up? The cracks were already forming. Just when you think this story couldn't get crazier, it does. For years, the Darwin scam seemed bulletproof. John, now John Jones, traveled to Kansas and Panama, planning a new life with Anne. But mistakes piled up. In Seaton Carew, a colleague spotted him and froze. "Is that him?" A tenant even asked, "Aren't you supposed to be dead?" John laughed it off, but the whispers grew. Then, on December 1, 2007, everything changed. John walked into a London police station, claiming amnesia. But here's where it gets wild. A single photo was about to blow the whole thing wide open. What was in that picture? And how did it bring down their entire scheme? You won't believe it. Journalist David Ley got a tip. A letter in the Darwins' old house pointed to Panama. He flew there, knocked on Anne's door for 40 minutes. And when she finally answered, the bombshell dropped. A 2006 photo of John and Anne, smiling in Panama, surfaced online. It was proof she'd known he was alive. The police pounced, and that snapshot became the smoking gun. The Darwins' lie was unraveling, and the fallout would tear their family apart. What did they say when confronted? That's next. In custody, John's cool facade cracked. I paddled out to sea. Anne picked me up, he admitted, almost smug. Across the ocean, David Ley showed Anne the Panama photo. She went pale and whispered, "The boys are never going to forgive me." She confessed for hours how they'd planned it, how she'd lied to her sons. She blamed John, but the evidence said otherwise. Their son Mark's words hit hardest. "We grieved our dad for years. To learn our mom was in on it. It broke us." Detective Tony Hutchinson said, "When we showed John that photo, his amnesia story collapsed. It was over. That single image didn't just end their scam, it shattered everything." Who were these people behind the masks? Let's dig deeper. John Darwin was a narcissist. Friends called him vain, always chasing status. Born in 1950, he jumped from teaching to prison work, never satisfied. Real estate was his obsession, but when it tanked, he couldn't face failure. Bankruptcy wasn't an option, so he faked his death. Anne was quieter, the loyal wife who'd been with him since high school. She claimed he bullied her into it, but her actions lying to her sons, playing the widow, showed a colder side. Their motive? Greed. Facing £700,000 in debt, insurance money was their lifeline. But they weren't masterminds. John used their home address on his fake passport, and Anne deceived her kids without flinching. Desperation, not brilliance, drove them. How did they think they'd get away with it? Arrogance and panic. That's the toxic mix behind this insane plan. In 2008, justice caught up. John pleaded guilty to fraud and passport crimes, getting 6 years and 3 months. "I'm sorry," he said. "I meant to repay it." No one believed him. Anne fought the charges, claiming coercion, but her sons testified against her, unable to look her in the eye. She got 6 years, 6 months longer than John. They were ordered to repay £679,000. By 2014, Anne had paid back £500,000. John scraped together just £122, practically mocking the court. The judge called it a determined, sustained fraud that didn't just steal money, it destroyed a family. The Darwins' lie had cost them everything, but the story wasn't over yet. Here's the craziest part. Even after prison, John Darwin didn't stop. He remarried a younger woman in the Philippines, dodging his debts like it's a game. Anne, meanwhile, lives quietly in New York, trying to rebuild her shattered life. Their sons forgave her barely, but John, they cut him off for good. This case didn't just shock the world, it changed the law, sparking the 2013 Presumption of Death Act to stop copycats. But could someone pull this off again? What do you think? Drop your thoughts below. Could you forgive a lie this big, especially from family? If you're hooked on true crime, check out our playlist right here. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. I'll see you next time with another wild story.